Teras, the parsha Nega'im. So Nega'im are niga'y hanefesh. Nega'im are Choli, they're sickness which is pogim in the nefesh of a person. And the emphasis is that every chavrei batzim comes from the nefesh of a person, right? But by Naga'im is something that we see it more. It means that a person gets sick. Batzim, the source of all chet comes from chet, comes from aver. But when it comes to Naga'im, so over there the nega itself is a nigei hanefesh. But a person, when we look at the sickness, when we look at Kollel, we see it with whatever our eyes see. So we run to the doctor to get healed because we understand that the doctor is the one that can heal us. Of the emphasis that it's not the doctor, it's the Eibishter. As we saw by the Nechash and the Choshis, that people would look at the Nachash and they would become healed. And over there, Zal tell us that is the Nachash famous, the Nachash Machayim. But this man, like Klal Yisrael, or Mistaklim Klapim Malo, and they were shavim as libam lavim shebashamayim. People, they made a shtickle acheshbon hanefesh, and they realized what the shorish of the chet was. Then they became the Tzara'at. We live with a gashmistic book. We live in this world. So we live in this world. We look at things with any basar v'dam, with our physical eyes. So we run to the doctor. The doctor says this is the problem, and that's what happens. But Ran Yidden that live even in our generation, there's people that live with a ruchnistic book. I was in Bnei Brak. Somebody told me over an incredible story with a Chaim. And he said like this. He said there was a couple of years ago that Chaim had a geneva in his house. What? He had a geneva in his house. Some money was stolen from his house. Now, not only they stole some of his money, they stole some money that he had from tzedakah. And Reb Chaim was ois mensch, so he started to make a cheshbon hanefesh. And all of a sudden one day he sends his sister, the Rebbetzin Barzen, he sends her a $2 bill. The kitzur, she's wondering, what's up with Reb Chaim sent her a $2 bill? Can't understand, why did Reb Chaim send her $2? Okay, she gets a $2 bill. She couldn't understand, but okay, it wasn't priceless, it wasn't so out of the norm that Reb Chaim sent her some money. But then, a little while later, she gets another $2 bill. When she got the second one already, it was already a little bit too much for her curiosity, so she went to find out, or whatever, Chaim used to come visit her, so she asked him, what's the shop in the $2 bill? So, Chaim said like this, he was making a cheshbon hanefesh. How's it shaykh that such a thing happened to him, that he made a geneva? Because of what chet did it come? The fact that he had a geneva in his house. And not only that there were pogim in moyes tzedakah. So he said it must be that he mishandled moyes tzedakah. But it couldn't be. He never mishandled moyes tzedakah in his life. He made a cheshbon about 30 years before. There was somebody who gave him some money to go give to his sister, the Salmona Rebbetzin Barzen. And B'shas Maisa, when the person gave him the money, in between all the bills, there was a $2 bill. And one of his grandchildren saw this $2 bill, and he wanted a $2 bill, something which was the Yikar Mitzvahs. So Reb Chaim went and he switched out the $2 bill. He asked if he could have it. And Reb Chaim said, yeah, it comes to money, there's no difference. This money, that money, $2 bill. So he switched it out. Now, it's interesting to note that Reb Chaim did not know what the Tzuras of Matbeya is. Even when it came to Shkolim, he barely knew what a Tzuras of Matbeya was. When it came to dollars, he for sure didn't know what a dollar looked like. And the difference between a $1 bill and a $2 bill and a $10 bill, $20 bill, if you asked him, he didn't know the difference. He knew what he needed to know. The Zachen that were Nagaya for Maisa, that's what he knew. But here, Reb Chaim remembered that 30 years before, there was a $2 bill that was in the middle of the cheshbon of the Mois, and he was afraid that could be that he did Shalai Kahagin, that he told him that he could switch in the $2 bill for $2 because if he wanted it, so maybe there was something that was more chashuv in the $2 bill, and he should have gave that to his sister. So why did he send it twice? Why did he send it twice was because Reb Chaim found out. Now I didn't verify this, but this is the way the Maisa goes. Reb Chaim found out that there's two types of $2 bills. There's some that have a red stamp and some that have a blue stamp. And he didn't remember 100% if the one that he took was with a blue stamp. If he didn't remember if the one that he took had a red stamp or he had a blue stamp. So Meili sent both of them. But Al Kaponim, that this musig that we see that a person lives with a ruchnius difficult, that he understands right away that if something happened to him, he goes back to figure out, to make a cheshbon an nefesh and pinpoint which chet this is coming on. And the emes is that this is something that we see when it comes befrat, when it comes to nigei batim. The Rambam says when it comes to naga'im in the house, he says it's a nes and a pella. That a person should see that there's a nega in a house. How does a house have a nega? Mela, a person that has a ruach chayim, a person has life, so it's that a person gets a nega. But even a kafi, our little understanding, we could understand that. But a house, how does a house get a nega? Now the pshat is that a person should understand that this is a nes and a pella that's happening from the Eibishter. And the sibur for that, why it's happening, is for us to understand that we should go and make a cheshbon an nefesh, that there's something that happens with us, shalai kahagin. The ganze inyan of bitachin. Bitachin, a person has bitachin. What's the yisod of bitachin? The yisod of bitachin is that a person should realize that it's not him. He should realize that it's out the Eibishter. It's not the person that's, when he's going and he's doing his little ishtadlis, that's what's making panos. But there's koiches haruchnius that are working in the world. The problem is that we're so far removed from that lifestyle that it's very hard for us to understand that. There was a Yid, Rabinsky, I think his name is, he's a menal of Yeshiva Orchis HaTorah. So that's the yeshivas from Baron Leib Shteiman. Now this Yid, I think he was a successful businessman, but he's a Yid tzaddik, and the Baron Leib was mamana him to run the yeshivas Orchis HaTorah. And he asked him to open up his network of yeshivas. He should be the menahel. He should be the one who's running it. So every time that there was a wealthy person that came to the Baron Leib would never take money for his own family. Would never take money for his own yeshivas. So he told him, he came to Baron Leib once with a time, and he said that the yeshiva doesn't do anything to help me to raise money. He said that I'm sitting over here and the yeshiva makes it so difficult for me because all the people that have a shaykhus to the yeshiva, they give the yeshiva money, the yeshiva never lets me take him for the eigen yeshiva because he's not a gizbar nemun. If he takes for his own yeshiva, he's not a gizbar nemun. So he would never let him take from any of his connections. So he told the yeshiva that the yeshiva doesn't help him b'chlal. He made it a difficult job. So Baron Leib looks at him and he says, I don't help you. He says, if daven for eich jeder Tag. He says, I daven for you every single day because azoyet the Baron Leib gelebt. The Baron Leib gelebt wasser help. Health is to go and make a little bit of shtadlis and to go to Yenim. Help is that a person davens, I daven for you. So Avada, how do you think the yeshiva has money? Yeshiva has money because of the tefillas. Because the Baal Lebed Gedaven for the yeshivas. That's the pshat. A mensch is B'teich B'Hashem. A mensch understands that the leben is haruchniistic leben. That's the yisoid of a nega. The yisoid of a nega is to understand that every machla basim is a ruchniistic machla. People would come to Reb Chaim and he would ask them, what should I do? I'm Reb Chaim, give you say this, that, but every time there's the same answer, the same answer. The same with davening. Daf Torah mitzvah. You do a mitzvah. You daven. You do something for the Eibishter. Then avadi you'll have siyata d'shmaya, because every single thing was the way he lived his life was with ruchnis. There was no gashmis. It didn't exist. That world didn't exist by him b'chlal. The ganze leben is a leben from a ruchniistic leben. That's what we have to take out from the parsha of Nagaya. That the leben is a ruchniistic leben, and we have to live our lives a little bit more with the understanding that our parnasa comes from the Rebbeinu Shalom. The siyata d'shmaya that we have is because we come to the Kollel in the morning, we come to learn, we come to daven. That's what our lives are dependent on. This is our oxygen.